Heyo, welcome back to WarGearSchool. Today I want to talk about how Minecraft handles the TNT that we shoot. Minecraft is a video game. It's shocking, I know. So nothing ever really happens at the exact same point in time, even though it may look like that in the game. Everything's calculated one by one, even if it happens in the same game tick. So every entity of prime TNT is also updated individually. I want to teach two major concepts more in depth. There is a specific order to the movement of prime TNT along the three axes during a positional update, and prime TNT entities are calculated one after another, and each one first moves and then explodes if its fuse time is up. You will see later why this is important. So to demonstrate the movement of TNT along the three axes, I have prepared a little setup here. Nothing fancy. I have a visualizer on, right? And you can see these TNT blocks is the position of the singular projectile at every game tick. And you can also see these white blocks, and what these are, I'll explain right now. So when TNT updates its position, it will first calculate how high or low it will be during the next game tick. So it will move on the vertical axis. And it will actually really move there, and that's what this white block stands for. This is the new vertical position of the TNT. Then the TNT will actually move along the axis that it has the highest remaining velocity in. We can see here that we do shoot slightly sideways, right? Propellant sits here, and here's the projectile, but the main angle is still forwards. So that's why we calculate forwards first. And then it calculates the last remaining axis, which is sideways here. You can also see that the distance between these calculation points is further apart forwards than sideways, by which you can see that the forwards velocity is higher than the sideways velocity. What this actually means is that if you tried to, for example, build a barrel by looking at these calculation points and like building a diagonal tunnel like this around them, it wouldn't work. The projectiles would calculate against the barrel walls and then explode. Instead, what you have to build is something like this that looks like a weird winding snake. And I can actually prove that this works. As you can see, it actually explodes back here, which if it got blocked somewhere, it would explode somewhere in this barrel, right? But I've built this out of glass so you can actually see that there are these calculation points within this snake. So first it calculates upwards. I've used the same chamber here, so the angle's the same. So afterwards it calculates forwards and then to the side. And it just repeats this until it explodes. So make no mistake, the TNT never during a game tick is actually at any of these positions. During one game tick it's here, and during the next one it's here. But to get there, it will actually move on this path. And this path can actually be interrupted, which I'm also going to demonstrate real quickly. So if I put a block here, I know it tries to travel upwards, but if I stop it from doing that, it will actually cancel its velocity on this axis. So now I can see that it still flies forwards and sideways, but not upwards anymore. And I can do this on any axis. So for example, I know it gets here and then tries to move here. I can also stop it from doing that. And then we see that it moves sideways and upwards, but not forwards anymore. And we can also interrupt it during the last part of its journey and shoot again. Then we see that it flies forwards and upwards, but not sideways anymore. And these are perfectly aligned, of course, except for a single axis, which is the one that we blocked. And if this angle was different, so if I hit it much more from the side then forwards, it would actually move up first, and then in this direction, and then in this direction. So next I want to demonstrate how TNT actually is calculated one by one. So one by one, they each move forwards and then explode. I have this little setup right here with a very straight angle and very high pressure. I have 36 propellant here and 10 projectiles. And you can see that the calculation points are much further apart now, which means that the TNT clears a higher distance each game tick, and so it has more velocity. And we can see that it explodes back here. And now I want to demonstrate something that is very unintuitive to people in the beginning often. And I'm going to put a fake wall slice here and just pretend that we're shooting at a wall. You can think about what might happen if you didn't think this would happen. That's perfectly fine. As you can see, this is not a bug. This is how it actually works. We now have this rod sort of an explosion. We have explosions spaced perfectly one block apart. So why is that? This is the last calculation point before it calculates here and explodes, right? So since TNT is calculated one by one TNT of the 10 projectiles will move forwards first and collide with our wall, and then it will explode, clearing one layer of this wall. Because as we've seen in the WarGearSchool video about explosions, TNT explosions clear one endstone layer. And then the next TNT from this group of projectiles flies forwards, can now get one block deeper into the wall that was cleared by the previous TNT, and then it explodes, clears another layer, and then this just repeats until all of the TNT is used up. This fact that TNT entities are calculated one by one can actually steal your pressure, and I'm going to demonstrate why. This can happen when you have particularly low pressure to begin with, and so the calculation points are very close together. Or if you have a wall that's very close to a calculation point that you're trying to tunnel through, just like in this situation. I'm going to put another short simulated wall just before this calculation point. Really, the TNT wants to explode here, right? And now I'm going to shoot this, and again, you can make your bets what happens. We now visually saw two explosions, one here and one here. And as you can see, the TNT now doesn't get as far as it did before. So why is that? The reason is that, again, the first TNT from this group flies forwards, and it meets this wall, so it stops its forwards velocity. And then it explodes, and it again clears this wall. But what it also does is it explodes, and because of that applies a force to the remaining TNT that have not yet flown forward into this direction. And then the next one from this group flies forwards, collides with the remaining segment of the wall, clearing the wall and applying force to the remaining TNT again into this direction. Now slightly less dramatically because it's slightly farther away. And because we had 3 blocks, this happens again. And that's why the remaining TNT doesn't fly all the way to the back here, because we stall a bit of their velocity by this wall here, and the way the TNT calculated one by one forwards, exploding and hindering these remaining ones. As per usual, feel free to join the WarGears International Discord, correct any errors that I made, and ask questions if something's unclear. If you liked the video, then give me a like, subscribe, and maybe leave a comment. See you next time.